If you'd asked me 15, 20 years ago why people weren't hitting their LSAT goals, why they weren't getting significant score increases, I probably would have said it was because they weren't using quality materials. Back then, not nearly as many people knew that they should be using real, actual, official LSAT prep tests. A lot more people were using books like LSAT for Dummies, Barron, and Kaplan. But since then, the word's gotten out, thanks to the internet, to use quality boutique resources focused exclusively on the LSAT, using real LSAT questions. And so that is no longer the reason. Instead, I'd say the biggest reason is probably that people simply are not putting in the work. They're hitting plateaus and stopping short of achieving their fullest potentials. Of course, there are a lot more distractions out there than there used to be, thanks to the internet as well and social media, that there's a lot more going on, and people underestimate just how much work it takes to succeed on the LSAT. There's, of course, been a lot of LSAT score inflation in the past couple of years as well. And so a 165 isn't what it used to be. A 170 isn't what it used to be. And now in 2024, the LSAT score medians at the top 14 law schools are all 170 or above. And so it's going to take a lot more work than it might have in the past in order to achieve your LSAT score goals, what it needs to get into your dream law school. And so I want to encourage you here in this video to think about how much work are you actually putting in. I was recently talking to a student who told me she was discouraged because she had done several reading comp passages and yet hadn't yet seen her big breakthrough in reading comp. And when I asked her, how many reading comp passages have you done? She said she had done 5 sections worth of reading comp. Now, each section has 4 reading comp passages. So 5 exams times 4 passages per exam is 20 passages worth of reading comp. Now, there are about 100 released LSAT prep tests, and each exam has 4 passages, so there are 400 available, and she had done only 20 of them. So she'd done roughly 5% of the material out there. And so how can you say you've put in what it takes when you've barely scratched the surface? Take this video as your wake-up call to take a good, hard look at yourself and see how much work are you actually putting in, and is it reflective of what you ultimately want to achieve? If you want to score higher than 99% of test takers, you've got to study differently than 99% of test takers. And most people aren't doing every exam ever released. I'm not saying that you have to, but I'm saying that doing at least half of the exams that were ever released would be a good starting point if you want to achieve a top LSAT score. Doing just 5 exams worth of material or 10 exams worth of material isn't nearly enough. On average, the typical student using conventional study methods improves about 1 point for every exam they complete. So the average student would improve their score by 10 points if they did 10 exams worth of material. So if you want to improve 20 points, do 20 exams worth of material. But it's not really enough just to work through the material, or else you're burning through valuable practice tests. Instead, you have to make sure that you are also learning the material, that you could get every single question right if you were to retake that exam. Students will worry that they have burned through an exam and that it's useless going forward, but I ask them, would you get a perfect 180 on that practice test if you were to do it again? If the answer is no, there's still something to be learned from redoing that practice test. Now, I mentioned 1 exam leads to 1 point increase using conventional methods. If you use unconventional methods in reviewing that practice test, you could double the efficiency of your review by increasing your score by 2 points for every practice test you complete. And if you're wondering, what would that unconventional study method look like? It might look like my Socratic review method framework, for example, where I guide you through a series of questions to help you pinpoint exactly what's giving you trouble regarding a particular question. In logical reasoning, for example, was your mistake coming from the stimulus, the question stem, or the answer choices, tempting wrong answers, unappealing right answers? Until you uncover which tricks and traps you are uniquely prone to falling for, you are likely prone to make the same mistake again if you are to redo that question, in which case you would not have truly learned the lesson that you could have from completing that question in the first place. I also want to encourage you that you take every question you get wrong as an opportunity to learn something new. So don't get discouraged by getting a question wrong, and certainly don't blame the exam if you get a question wrong. Don't think to yourself, oh, the LSAT's dumb, it doesn't test anything important. Instead, see the LSAT not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to improve your reasoning ability, to learn how to think like a lawyer. The LSAT could be the greatest gift you ever get in terms of setting you on the path to success in law school and in your career going forward. And if you'd like my help achieving that score of 170 or above, if you want to achieve that mindset breakthrough, of course, there are a variety of ways I could support you. You can check out the links below the video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. And in the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.